Project edges versus including them. In this video, we'll explore a 3D sketch, project a face into a sketch, include 3D geometry in a sketch, and use Move Copy. In Fusion 360, we want to carry on with our gear reduction housing solids. We've taken a look at creating a lot of different 2D sketches. All of these have been created either on a face or on a plane that we created or one of the existing origin planes. Now we want to talk about 3D sketching. We're not going to be saving any of our 3D sketch work, but I think it's important that we do discuss the options as they can become extremely helpful in certain cases. To get started, I want to begin by selecting the end of this bearing face that we created, right-clicking, and starting a new 2D sketch. When we start a new sketch, in the sketch palette on the right-hand side, you'll notice that we have something called 3D Sketch. Depending on your user preference settings, 3D Sketch may automatically be on or off in your sketch palette. If it's off, let's go ahead and turn it on now and talk about 3D sketching. I'm going to rotate my model a little bit, and I'm going to begin by going to my Create dropdown and taking a look at Project and Include. We've already used Project to bring sketch entities into another sketch, but we can also use it to bring faces and edges from other solid bodies into our current sketch. For example, if we select Project and we grab this entire face, it's going to grab the internal and external edges that belong to that face. The same thing if we grab one of the other ones. You can see the preview on the screen in red showing us exactly what's going to be created. If we rotate the part around and we select the back face, notice that it's giving us everything that's included with that face. What I want to do in this case is select this front face and project that onto my current sketch plane. Also note that we can use the bodies option or specified entities. When I say OK, I now have these purple sketch entities that have been projected. Let's go ahead and view Project Include again, and let's take a look at the next option, in this case, Include 3D Geometry. We're going to select Include 3D Geometry, and we're going to select the same geometry we just used to project. But notice that it's not giving us the same face selection and the same preview. What it's actually doing is it's grabbing entire faces or edges, and it's going to be including them in 3D. For example, if I select this arc or this face, notice that what I'm actually doing is I'm getting those entities in my 3D sketch. So it's not bringing them to my 2D sketch plane, however, it is including them and keeping them as a 3D element. Let's bring back Body 5 and let's go back to our Create dropdown, and in Project Include, we can see that we have other options such as Project Surface and Intersection Curve. We also have an option for Intersect, which will allow us to grab the intersection on our current sketch plane. To view that, let's finish this current sketch and let's start a new sketch on this face. When we create a sketch on this face and we go to our Create, Project Include, and Intersect, we can select a face that doesn't have a sketch entity on it, and using the current sketch plane, we can create those entities based on the intersection with our selected sketch plane. This can be a face on a body as long as it's planar, or it could be a specific plane. Now, in this case, we also have those exact same entities that we could project from the top or the bottom. But that doesn't always happen. If you have a drafted body or something with some curvature, you might need to use the Intersect option. While we are here talking about Intersect, there is another option in the sketch palette called Slice that'll create a temporary section view. This doesn't create the edges for you, but it allows you to cut through the solid geometry so that way you can see exactly what's on the current sketch plane. This can be extremely handy as you need to work inside or outside of certain geometry. It can be problematic to see through the solids, so using that slice option can be extremely helpful. The next thing that I do want to talk about with 3D sketching before we turn that off is actually creating sketch entities. Using our line tool, you'll notice that we have a different coordinate system display because we are using 3D sketching. I can begin sketching in 2D, but I can also switch to different planes. For example, I'm now sketching in the Z direction, and I can switch again to the XY, and I can begin working in XY, and snapping to those various coordinate systems. I can then move into the YZ plane and I can come back down. I can also snap to geometry in 3D. I'm going to hit escape and notice that we now created some sketch entities that are actually in 3D by using those options. So it is important to note that 3D sketching is available and you can do things like project or include 3D entities, but you can also create them on the fly as long as you turn that option on. Let's go ahead and turn 3D Sketch off, finish the sketch, and we want to close this file without saving. It's important to play around with all these tools, but for our specific design, using those options for 3D sketching are not going to provide us any benefit, but it is important that we play and understand what they do before we move on. So I'm not going to save this, but I am going to continue on with that same design in the next video.